Hello to the 5 people watching, welcome back to the channel. It's time for another video. Let's talk about debanking. Imagine waking up one morning for you to realize that you don't have access to your bank account. Imagine what that would do to your life, because that happens more often than you realize. It happens in Europe, it happens in the UK, it happens in the US, it happens in Canada, and so on. Let's begin by talking about your bank account, because the number that you see when you check your balance, just because it's there, don't be fooled to think that there is a place in the bank with a pile of cash with your name on it, because that's not how it works. Banks operate on something called a fractional reserve, which means they only have to legally hold a tiny amount of cash just to cover operations and liquidity crunches, such as a bank run. So they technically only have enough to cover those possibilities. So the number that you see on your balance is just a number that the bank has on their ledger. And they prefer more and more these days not to operate with cash. If you don't believe me, go to your local bank and try to withdraw, I'm not even saying a significant amount of money, like a salary. See what happens. They don't like doing it. So why do people get debanked? Well, it can be a lot of things, to be honest. It could be having the wrong opinion, the wrong political opinion. It can be doing business with somebody they don't like. These days it can literally be anything. And I'm gonna tell you now a story about someone who I know that got debanked. I met this guy a long time ago. This is when I first started into researching, and when I found out about Bitcoin. And he was the guy who basically told me where to go, what to research to get more information about it, and so on. It was a website in the UK. It was called Local Bitcoins. And I think this guy was also mining, I don't remember exactly. Anyway, he got into Bitcoin before me. He was about 4 or 5 years younger than I was. At some point I remember he said he got debanked. They notified him that basically he got his account frozen, so he couldn't access his account anymore, and then his account got closed. Not only that, but they never gave him a proper reason why. Now, we had an opinion why, and basically it was because he was buying Bitcoin, but you know, it never got confirmed. So it was pretty messed up. And he was lucky that he had a downloaded statement on his phone that was only like 2 or 3 weeks old, and he could use, because so not only they closed his bank account, they froze and then closed his bank account, but he couldn't access the money that he had there. So he had, like, I think if I remember correctly, about 4,000 pounds. So he had to prove to the bank that he had 4,000 pounds in his account, even though he did not have access to his account anymore. And it was a very messy situation. Like I said, he was lucky that he had that statement, and he almost ended up going to court with them until they actually, I think he had to open another bank account. He opened another bank account and they transferred his cash to that bank account. Can you imagine what that would do to someone's life? Imagine you're saving money and you're preparing to buy a property, right? To get a mortgage and buy a property, and all of a sudden your bank closes your account. Not only that, but what happens to your credit score when that very old credit history you have, it's just gone all of a sudden? Imagine what effect that has on your life. I don't even want to imagine what happens if you don't even have a statement to prove how much cash you had in your account. I just believe debanking is wrong. I don't think they should be just able to do that. I think it should be like a human right to have access to a bank account. Just my opinion. Especially when closing a bank account can have such a devastating effect on someone's life. To add to that, if they close your account, they should tell you the reason why they chose to close it, and then you should have the right to attack that decision and go to court. But many don't even do that. Why? Because of that reason. You can attack them, you can go to court, get a lawyer, and they'll have to explain themselves in front of a judge. So a lot of them, what they do in the terms and conditions, right, that you need to read before you open your account and agree with them, obviously, it says that they can close your account at any point without offering you an explanation, which I also think is wrong. How can you prepare yourself against something like this? Well, the first thing I did when I found that out, and I believe this was quite a long time ago now. I think it was about 11 years. Something. I think it was about 2014. I immediately went and opened another bank account just in case. You never know. Then a few years later, I opened another one. So having more than one bank account, I think it's a very good idea. Not only that, but if you can open also bank accounts in a different country. Do not put all your eggs in one basket. That particular bank did not like the fact that this guy was buying Bitcoin, my opinion, and they closed his bank account. And I just think Bitcoin is going to win in the long run because it's completely outside the traditional financial system. You do not need a bank. All you need is a cold storage wallet, and you are your own banker. Nobody has access to that but yourself. By the way, guys, look at this view. We finally have some proper winter. Brings memory from my childhood. So, yes, multiple bank accounts, have multiple credit cards, bank accounts in different countries. Some people only keep a small amount of cash on their bank accounts just to cover bills for like 2-3 months, and that's it. And they move more cash into it as required. That's something that I like doing myself. I believe it's better to be prepared, because when the system decides to go after you, it can be bad. It's always good to have options. Let me know in the comments down below, have you met anyone who has been debanked? Better be safe than sorry. Hopefully you never need the other bank accounts, but they're there just in case you do. I hope you like this video. If you do, like, subscribe, and all that good stuff for the algorithm, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.